Hey there guys, what's going on? So the year we know as 2014 continues to transition slowly yet surely from the summer to the very whispers of fall, and to avoid the panic of how quickly that came on, yours truly is here to once again talk music. Reviews in this case. Surprise, surprise. And in this installment, we're going to do something a little quicker, a little more straight at the wall about a release that's already been out there for a bit this year. But as a video I did, well, not too long ago, and these guys will tell you, I think it's a highly underrated release. Plus, something tells me it's not getting nearly enough press, and that's a situation that I need to work on changing. Plus, I haven't had the power to stop listening to it on repeat, so why not take advantage of an easy situation? For this video, we have a special kind of band, a super sort of band, if you will, consisting of a bunch of guys from different walks of the musical realm coming together in pursuit of a common goal, namely the music of the common man, the poor, the downtrodden, the humble folk. You may not know every name here, or any name at all for that matter, but when the needle drops and their kickin' brand of tunes take hold, get ready to stand back, put your fist in the air, and drink in the liquid magic. Because today we have the hardworking Americans, which, instead of being the latest brand of jeans or some sort of commercial with a lot of American flags in it, is the supergroup consisting of gonzo solo artist Todd Snyder, with the more than able backing of Neil Casal, Dave Schools, Dwayne Trucks, Chad Staley, and Jesse Aycock. This is their self-titled debut album, which consists of a range of down-in-the-earth, hands-dirty working man song covers ranging from Randy Newman to Hayes Carll. It's a powerfully potent mix of everything from country-ish folk to sharp-riffed blues rock, and without further intro, let's just get into it, shall we? Here are my thoughts on the hardworking Americans. For most quote-unquote supergroups seen over the years, the formula usually works in much the same method. Musicians get a notion to record some ideas together, usually they write a collection of new songs, see where things go, and then potentially tour with it for a bit. Then it's off to riding into the sunset declaring, what a collaboration that was, though I barely knew ye in the first place, when in truth, most of us barely knew about it in the first place, it was so fast. Point being, the idea of a supergroup is an often overblown and fleeting concept. But in the case of the hardworking Americans, well, I don't exactly see them having the years ahead together between Todd Snyder's solo work, Neil Casal's dual stint in the Chris Robinson Brotherhood, Dave Schools with Widespread Panic, etc., etc. I do see one hell of a tight-knit debut here. And while these are all a collection of covers instead of really any originals, the songs are well chosen and ideally suited to the band's strengths from the very start to that last note. Take opener Blackland Farmer, for instance, which is a slinky little blues jam that gives an old song some much-desired contemporary flair, or Stomp and Holler, which takes a pinch of James Brown, only white and taller, a dash of 70s groove, and the blast of a John Popper harmonica solo to make a recipe that just pretty much shatters the windows better than opera ever wishes it could do. Of course, it's not all fun and furious as the tempo comes down for stunners like Down to the Well and the Gillian Welch song Wrecking Ball, which may just be my favorite version of a song with that title to date. In it, Todd Snyder is the brilliant front and center lead man, painting the guts of his emotions across the canvas of someone else's song. It makes it feel like a page from the harrowing journey that his own life has been. Snyder often reminds me of Warren Zevon in that sense, and how the two are so immediately known for their blending of this acerbic wit and humor that so few have in their storytelling, yet their stark sentimentality kind of tends to get lost over in the darkness. Snyder's Lonely Girl and Zevon's Hasten Down the Wind immediately come to mind, but the comparisons certainly don't end there. And really, it's nice to see Snyder as more of the rock and roll, I don't even need to hold a guitar or some kind of instrument type of frontman here. The storyteller side of himself doesn't so much fade to the background as it does blend with the singer, and having a backing of musicians this killer really doesn't hurt you much either. Songs like Mr. President Had Pity on the Working Man, Another Train because always a train song, the swell of Straight to Hell and the booming thud of Run a Mile, the list goes on and on here. One of my absolute favorite debut breakout little albums of 2014. My favorites from this one are all of the aforementioned in this case, and in my mind, you'll really not find a single bad track to listen to across the span of this release. There may be some helpful bias in that these songs were all written by others and were pre-picked instead of being created specifically for this, but when they're all put together, the songs really do have a new life as a unit with this band and these guys. And they really do embody that common struggle of the everyday man, with a little bit of folk, a little bit of country and rock and roll, no Donnie or Marie included though, and just the muster of these great musicians with chemistry who sound like they've been doing this, whether it be on the back porch or in the studio, for years. So, with that in mind, I give the hardworking American self-titled debut release an absolute wholehearted 10 out of 10. But that's it, and that's all for me here, guys, with my review of the Hardworking Americans and their self-titled debut album. In all honesty, and kind of a side note, I feel like it's really appropriate to bring a Warren Zevon comparison into this particular video, given that on the date that this was recorded was the 11th anniversary to the day that Mr. Zevon passed. And it was a date I knew was around this time, but it was actually thanks to the Hardworking Americans dedicating a moment to say something about Warren that made me remember it. So it feels really fitting to tie that in, and especially with Todd, given how similar the two of them really are, and how it's really awesome to find somebody else who kind of, even in a much different sense, and their similarities and differences kind of embody this same sort of persona and this same sort of crazy-ass raconteur of just sheer awesomeness as a musician. So, but to get back on topic here, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for tuning in, listening to what I have to say. Go and pick up this Hardworking Americans release in hopefully a record store. Hopefully they're smart enough to carry it. But you can go and find it online on the Hardworking Americans website, and where all good things, vinyl and music, happen to be sold. So do not hesitate. Go out and pick this one up. It is a great release, one of my favorite ones of 2014. But keep it here, guys, for the next bulk of great stuff, new vinyl, bunch of great stuff coming at you real soon here. So keep it here and stay tuned.